I'm Jesse McAnally.
And I'm Andrew DeWolf.
And welcome to Musicals with Cheese, a podcast where I try to get Andrew to like musical theater. And for the entire month of May and part of April, we are doing something to celebrate the closure of Cameron McIntosh and Hal Prince's and one other guy's Phantom of the Opera on Broadway. We're doing so by covering other Phantom adaptations that were not on Broadway, in fact, have almost nothing to do with the Phantom of the Opera, the stage musical, except for the fact that they share a source material. And to start this off, we are talking about one of the few musical versions of Phantom of the Opera that actually predates the Andrew Lloyd Webber musical, and that is Paul Williams' The Phantom of the Paradise. Cue the music.
I was not myself last night, couldn't set things right with apologies or flowers. Out of place as a crying clown who could only frown, and the play went on for hours. And as I lived my role, I swore I'd sell my soul for one love who would stand by me and give me back the gift of laughter, yeah. One love who would stand by me. And after making love we dream a bit of style.
It is a musical with songs by Paul Williams, directed by Brian DePalma, and also written by Brian DePalma, based on Gaston Leroux's Phantom of the Opera. It premiered October 31st, 1974, and it was a box office failure and received negative reviews, while earning praise from its music, receiving an Academy Award and Golden Globe nominations. However, over the years, the film has received much more positive reviews and has become a cult favorite. The plot of The Phantom of the Paradise is, in this rock opera hybrid of The Phantom of the Opera and Faust, fledgling singer-songwriter Winslow Leach finds himself double-crossed by the nefarious music producer Swan, who steals both his music and the lead girl. Leach wants to sing it. Phoenix for the grand opening of his rock palace, The Paradise. After Swan sends Leach to prison for trespassing, Leach endures a freak accident which leaves him both disfigured and plans his revenge on both Swan and The Paradise, becoming the Phantom of the Paradise. So, Andrew, I kind of threw this at you kind of raw, and what did you think?
This is a fucking weird one, and I don't mean that in a bad way. It's weird in a good way. I didn't really know what to expect going into it. The only thing I think I knew about it was I had seen stills of his of the Phantom's goofy mask where he has like a bird mask.
It is a brilliant. There's a lot of bird imagery.
What other bird imagery are you thinking of?
What's the first? What is Swan? Swan? Phoenix?
That's true. We have Swan Phoenix. What is Winslow's last name? Is that
Winslow
a bird
Leach
thing? Winslow Leach. Okay, yeah. Yeah, there is a lot of bird imagery, isn't there?
And it's
maybe not imagery, like naming schemes.
Well,
and
then
things.
the first thing we see is the dead animal or the dead bird like image.
And the dead bird is the
logo.
The swan. Yeah.
So there's a lot of bird stuff going on here.
This is a movie where, and this is like one of the best kinds of movies. It's so campy and over the top, but like you can tell that the people making it had something that they really wanted to like say and get out there. They had an idea, and it's a wild idea, and they just go with it. And you could tell there's no self-doubt in the movie, you know? Never once does anyone stop and go, this is ridiculous, this isn't good, whatever. They're just like, no, just do it. We're just gonna do it. Yeah, he's gonna get his teeth taken out in prison and he's gonna have weird metal teeth. Like, that's just gonna be a thing. That's just gonna be the thing that happens.
I agree. What is your history with Brian DePalma?
Honestly, I don't know. What else has he made?
Like, I know he's done the original Carrie, which you're a big fan of.
Yeah, I do like that. I'm not like a big fan, but I did enjoy that.
He did the first Mission Impossible movie. He's one of the most stylistic directors out there.
I've actually never seen Mission Impossible.
It's good. You should watch it. But my favorite film by him is definitely Dress to Kill. It's a little transphobic, but I think it is like one of the most beautifully made mystery films I've ever seen.
Okay, so it's got a good catalog of stuff to hear.
And this is kind of his only movie like this. Like, you still see his trademarks, like he's known for his split screens and he's known for like weird transitions, but he doesn't really do camp like this very often. This was kind of, or musical.
I wonder if this turned him off of it.
I wouldn't be surprised, but it's developed a very heavy cult following in the same vein as Rocky Horror Picture Show.
It's very comparable to Rocky Horror Picture Show. And honestly, I feel like this deserves a lot more credit than it gets.
I agree.
In those communities, you have Rocky and you have Beef.
Gentlemen, I give you the future. Beef.
Beef has at least a character that Rocky does not.
Exactly. Like, Beef is more interesting. I swear, the whole like beginning of this, like probably the first half of this, everything where he's becoming like this Phantom Man, all of that is so just off the rails fucking crazy. It's so good. And it doesn't really like slow down after that. It's just it like switches gears, you know? Like halfway through it switches gears into this different type of movie where it's like now he's like a slasher villain going after people. He doesn't actually kill anybody, I don't think, that I remember.
He tries to kill Swan. I guess he kind of does.
That's true.
He kills Beef.
Oh, that's right. He does kill Beef. I remember the scene where he's in the shower and he doesn't kill Beef in that.
But no, he like electrocutes
later
Beef.
Yeah.
And I feel like Beef does not deserve to die. Beef was just doing their best.
Yeah, but I mean that's a Phantom of the Opera thing, isn't it? Like,
yeah.
that woman always, what's the fuck is her
Carlotta.
name? Carlotta. Yeah, she usually gets it, doesn't she?
Yeah, but this takes a lot less inspiration from the Gaston Leroux film and a lot more from the 1943 film with Claude Rains.
Christine, you're going to be a great and famous singer. I'll help you.
Specifically, like in the book, the Phantom is born disfigured, whereas in the Claude Rains film, he is disfigured by acid by a rival, and he's aiming to get revenge because of that, and all that sorts of things. And it is much more like father-daughter, I want her to sing my music, all that kind of stuff. I can see the influences. As far as comparative to Phantom of the Opera, I think there's a lot of things that run parallel, like Beef is Carlotta, we talked about. The one thing and Phoenix is, of course, Christine.
Yes.
The one thing we don't really have, we don't have a chandelier crash, and we don't, Paul Williams' character, Swan, there's not really an equivalent for him in any other version of Phantom of the Opera.
That's because the Swan character comes from the Faust influence, I feel like. The Swan is the devil, sort of.
No, he made a deal with the devil, kind of.
In the Faust parallel, he is the devil character.
Yes. But he also made a separate deal with the devil to not age.
Exactly. He's not literally the devil. It's just in what they took from the story, he's the devil. Because the Phantom, who is Winslow Leach, makes a deal with him to get more famous and get more popular. And of course, it all backfires because it always does.
Immediately.
Winslow wants to just get revenge on Swan the whole time. But Swan also, and this part is a little weird and just kind of almost out of nowhere, but I guess it's so weird that it almost works. Swan also made a deal with the devil to like live forever as a young man or something. It's very interesting.
Yeah, but he can't be shown on TV or else you will see the real side of him, which is the Dorian Gray part of the narrative.
Yes. Just an absolutely wild movie.
Mm-hmm. But the thing is, we've made comparisons to Rocky Horror Picture Show. I think this is closer to Little Shop of Horrors because unlike Rocky Horror Picture Show, but like Little Shop of Horrors, this has very incredible filmmaking. Like the single shot, like time bomb scene is absolutely impressive. The filmmaking is stylistic, intentional, and very confident. And I'm a big fan of work like this.
It's weird that this failed so hard, I guess. initially, but I am glad that it's getting a cult resurgence, and I almost wish it had more of a cult resurgence. Because I people do talk about this in certain like communities, but I feel like it doesn't get nearly the attention that like Rocky Horror has gotten.
No.
Where like there's no like remake of this on Fox, you know, like that.
They
that's not gonna
have been
happen.
trying to remake this for a couple years.
Have
This
they?
has
Okay.
been something they've been trying for many years.
The other thing is I don't know if you could remake it, because I think a lot of the charm with this is that it's so
the 70s.
Well, it's so 70s, and also the filmmaking is so deliberate, and you don't see this type of filmmaking that often.
No.
And I don't think just some remake is gonna do it justice at all.
I think the minute you lose Paul Williams and Brian DePalma, you have nothing. And Brian DePalma is a visionary, but Paul Williams, I know you know his work. He did most of the Muppets soundtrack.
Oh, then yeah, I definitely know his work.
Like-
He did all the songs in this?
Yeah, he did every song, and he plays Swan.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, and most of the time when like Leech is singing, it is him. So he did the songs for The Muppet Christmas Carol, The Muppet Movie, Bugsy Malone, which we should cover one of these days. Emmett Otter's Christmas. Yeah, he's really good at this.
Emmett Otter's Christmas, underrated. Actually, some fun jug band stuff in that.
But this was like his big thing. And I know it's inspired filmmakers like Edgar Wright so much that Paul Williams gets a cameo in Baby Driver because Edgar Wright is such a big fan of this film.
I feel like we have to describe more of what actually happens.
Tell us the plot, Andrew.
So a lot of the plot is kind of fuzzy and surreal, a surrealist in a way. But the Paradise, I think, is a physical location. It's a
Yes.
music venue that the Swan is trying to open. We open in some other club, I'm pretty sure,
With the Juicy Fruits.
with the Juicy Fruits. And the Juicy Fruits is like a 50s rock band, kind of like Beach
Beach
Boys.
Boys.
We'll remember you forever, Eddie. Through the sacrifice you made, we can't believe the price you paid for love.
But they have like their name changes as the movie goes on.
Yeah, don't they become like the Beach Bums or some shit?
Something like that. I love it.
And they go on, and then Winslow Leach goes on and plays like a piano ballad that's like you could tell it's supposed to be a lot more like heartfelt than what
Yeah.
like the Juicy Fruits were playing.
Yeah, it's a song called Faust, and I love this song.
All my dreams are lost, and I can't sleep. And sleep alone could ease my mind.
The Swan, and we don't see the Swan, but the Swan and this other person are at this
In
club.
like a glass bar, like a glass bubble above it.
Yeah, because everything in this movie is fucking weird.
I love it. I love it. It's like if the apple were good.
Yeah, exactly. And you're taking that word from me, I think. Because I had said that.
Life is nothing but show business. In 1994, we fight for the spotlight. We kill or encore.
We talked about the apple, and the apple is so weird and wacky, but it's just it kind of just doesn't work.
Yeah.
Whereas this does everything that the apple did, but like it works. So
Well, I think the thing about this is it takes a breath and knows when to just be a moment and when to be wild and erratic.
So Winslow meets this guy that the Swan was talking to, and the guy is
Yes.
like, "We want to make a deal with you to like play your music." And Winslow has like he calls it a cantata, I think, or a sonata.
Mhm.
I forget which one he calls it. Called Faust. He's playing rock music, so it's a little weird that but I get it. He's supposed to be like this out there musician guy, and he has like a stack of papers as big as a freaking encyclopedia that is his cantata sonata Faust. But the thing is, only he can sing Faust. He doesn't want anyone else to sing Faust
Until he meets Phoenix.
until he meets Phoenix, but that's later. He goes, so he gives them his music and never hears back. So he goes to like the Swan's house.
I love how you're calling him the Swan like it isn't his name.
Is his name just Swan?
Yeah.
Okay. He goes to Swan's house and there's tryouts being held for women to sing Faust, his song, and
Yeah.
he's like, he must have forgotten to invite me or something because he's just dense, I guess.
He's not the brightest bulb.
So he sneaks in and meets Swan, and Swan kicks him out and beats him up and imprisons him. Well, the police imprison him.
Right.
He goes to federal prison for some shit, trespassing. I don't know. They take his teeth out. What the?
They knock his fucking teeth out.
The prisoners aren't allowed to have teeth, I guess, in this prison system.
But it's okay. He escapes by putting himself into a box. It's
He
great.
literally. So he hears that the Juicy Fruits are going to play Faust at the opening of the Paradise on the
Right.
radio, and this upsets him so much that he jumps out a window into a box or some shit. Or
Jumps
he
into
rolls-
like a conveyor belt and packages him away in a box.
Yes, and this gets him out of prison.
Yeah, it works. It's very much the way that Annie got out of the orphanage is how Winslow gets out of prison.
So it just works. He gets out of prison and he runs to is it Swan's house again, or is it like a different? It's somewhere where they're printing records.
I think it's just the Paradise record printer.
Yeah. And through the most convoluted, ridiculous nonsense ever.
He gets caught and smashes his face into the fucking record printer.
Yeah, he bashes his face into the printer, and half his face gets all messed up because Phantom. It has. I mean,
We
come
gotta
on.
get to that deformity somehow.
Yeah, and they do the half face deformity thing, but he wears a mask that covers the top part of his face, all of it.
I am equally baffled, and it's not even the only version of Phantom of the Opera that does that, and I am always confused every time.
It's like, I mean, I guess half masks are a weird thing to come by, but why even why not just have his whole face be deformed then?
The other
Like,
thing that's strange about this adaptation is it also destroys his vocal cords. So he needs to get a vocoder to be able to talk again, which I think adds a lot to this specific version of Phantom of the Opera. Like, gives it a Batman element.
Yeah, what I think is really cool about it as well is that it makes him dependent on Swan to do his singing. Because he
Yes.
goes and he meets with Swan again, trying to destroy the Paradise or whatever, but Swan is like, I need more of your music. Let's just let bygones be bygones. Here, sign this contract that
In
has
blood.
in blood. and I'll help you sing again. And so now he can sing again, but only when he's hooked up to this machine that Swan made.
And when he does, it's Paul Williams' voice coming out, not the original actors. So literally, Swan gives him his voice.
And this is where we kind of move into the second like half of the story.
Can we
Because all of that,
we
What's
didn't
that?
even talk about like the casting couch segment where Winslow breaks in to like.
there's so much. We can't talk about like everything. There's just so fucking much that goes on.
I know, but that one's specifically weird. It's like, what is he watching us do? Do each other?
We're not even at like we're still. This was all building up to now he is the Phantom of the Paradise.
Yes, now he is the Phantom of the Paradise.
Because all of this is just backstory to that essentially.
And it
now
goes
that he-
quickly. I know it sounds like we took a while. That's like 20 minutes of the movie.
It's ridiculous. So much happens, and it's like it's just boom, 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 boom. It's crazy.
And usually
Um,
that's a negative, but for this film, like you
It's good.
appreciate the adrenaline.
You like it because it's just it feels like it's like Winslow Leach's No Good Very Bad Day, you know.
Then what happens? Then we introduce Beef, don't we?
Yeah, Beef gets introduced. Who is Beef? Beef is part of the Juicy Fruits or something.
The new headliner, basically. Like basically
Yeah.
what Phoenix was supposed to be, it's now Beef.
So Swan, as far as I'm aware, Swan is just a fucking asshole.
Yes.
Because he literally is like, the Juicy Fruits aren't singing the songs right, which Winslow literally told him the Juicy Fruits wouldn't sing the songs right. Said that just straight up. And Swan is like, whatever, we're going to have the Juicy Fruits sing the songs. And then they didn't sing the songs right. And now Winslow is like, I want this Phoenix person to sing my songs. And Swan is like, yeah, that's great. We're going to have this other person sing the songs who can't do it.
We're going to find the most ridiculous human being on the planet to try to sing these songs.
Swan is either self-destructive or he literally just exists to piss off Winslow. It's insane.
I mean, in the narrative, yes, he does, but it's hilarious. And the way they reveal Beef, they like pull him out of a casket and then he just glares into the camera.
Beef is incredible. Beef
Yes.
is just amazing. And the fact that the movie is so good before they even introduce Beef is really a testament.
It gives you a new lease on life when Beef shows up, and it also is such a bummer when the fucking Winslow murders him.
It's still good though. Like, so Beef is Carlotta.
Yeah.
Beef is like I almost want to say like a glam rock singer.
Yeah, a pretty face with like a intensity mostly in the performance, less than the actual singing.
Yeah. Kind of a drag sort of vibe.
Definitely, yeah, that kind of vibe.
And Beef like gets threatened by Winslow because Winslow's
In
like
a Psycho reference, like with a plunger in his mouth, it's great. But Beef is not like, let's be clear, Beef is not an mean or evil person. Even he's like, I don't like fiddling around with a dead man's music. It's kind of weird. It gives me the willies. I don't like this.
Beef wants out.
Yeah.
The thing is, Swan kind of has everybody by the balls.
Like, if there's anyone not deserving of death, it's Beef, but the Phantom kills him anyway.
Well, yeah, because it's Phantom of the Opera. The Phantom is never the good guy, really.
No.
Sympathetic, but never the good guy.
What has come the closest to him being the good guy?
I mean, probably this.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. And he still killed Beef.
He still kills Beef. But at this point, Winslow's had enough, you know? Like, everyone's fucking with him.
And the worst part is he can't even kill himself to be free of it because he's under contract.
Yeah, this movie has a thing with contracts. Both Winslow and Swan are under contract, and the contracts are like magic, so they're literally not able to die because it would break the contract.
So he's like, yeah, you got to play your music to me forever. And then Winslow tries to kill Swan. He's like, oh, I'm under contract too. Don't even worry.
I kind of want you to explain the very end here.
Well, then Swan breaks his contract, like forced. Like, this is where it just gets into big technicalities where Swan broke his contract, was seen on TV, and people saw his real face. And therefore, both of them die because both their stab wounds open up again.
Yeah, it's just a contractual technicality ends the movie.
Yep. Which, for a critique on the music industry, I think that's pretty funny.
Oh, yeah.
Like, this film is just an overall critique of like, man, the music industry sucks, right? Am I right?
Yeah, I mean, it takes everything from you, gives your music to people that suck.
And people will be dancing on your corpse, not even aware you even existed, which is like the chaos of the ending.
Yeah, so I feel like that's Phantom of the Paradise, but really, it's pretty hard to explain this because it's so...
Yes.
It's
you need to watch it for yourself.
You have to watch it.
You owe
it
to
really,
yourself.
You're missing out by not watching it because... Like, you have to see his eyes with the black makeup staring back at you through the fucking mask. Like, it's really something.
And it's nothing about this screams laziness. Nothing about this is lazy. Nothing about it is by the book. It is incredible. And I love Brian DePalma, and he can do subtle work. Like, Dress to Kill is a very subtle film. But this is over-the-top camp, and you know what? I love it. We don't get enough of shit like this.
This is like it's one of those B movies that is really good. Like it's everything good about B movies, you know?
Yeah, except without Jerry Seinfeld.
Yeah, everything good about the B movie.
On that note, Andrew, want to compare our opinions to those of the true critics over on Letterboxd.com?
I am excited to hear what they have to say because I mean, with a movie like this.
All right, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Number 1, Jessica Harper, heart emoji.
Is that an actress in the movie?
Yeah, she plays Phoenix.
This has to be a trick, because, I mean, this is an obvious 5, so I'm going to go 1 star, just because,
That is correct! Next one. Like Beef, I know drug reel from Real Real.
That's right. Fucking that's
There's
Beef
some
does
good
say that.
one-liners.
Oh, they're because like Beef is like a druggie or whatever, and he's trying to leave. Like, oh, there's a phantom, and they're like, you're just on drugs, and he's like, I know drug reel from real.
And you know what? Good for him.
Oh, Beef is great.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go 5 for the Beef quote.
that is correct. Winslow, frowny face.
Yeah. 5 stars.
That
5
is
stars.
correct.
I'm on a roll. I'm on a roll today.
You are.
Let's go.
Next one. If you watch this, you will grow sideburns and your pants will lengthen.
5 stars.
That is a 1 star.
Fuck. Okay.
Still doing good.
Next one. We're getting it. We're
I
getting the
hate-
next one.
I hate when my favorite artist gets too into coke.
1 star. There was too many. I've tried 5 too many times.
That
It's
is
a pure guess.
correct. And the last one. Beef deserved better.
True. 5 stars.
That is a 1 star. But you got 2 points. You did all right that
Damn.
game, Andrew.
Okay.
How about we go into a mid-show and then we talk about some of these songs?
Today's show is brought to you by the extremely kind donations by our donors over at Patreon. You can check out our Patreon for some extra content. We got commentary tracks. We got whole extra podcast episodes over there. Just a lot of content to check out. You can also request episodes. You can come to our monthly Patreon meetups. And you get your name on this nice list that I am about to read. Our current patrons are Melissa Goldman, Danielle Renix, Justice Stampede, Ewan Cassidy, Monica Thoreau, Brent Black, Nathaniel Stacy Coombe, Rafael Martinez Solaz, Jessica T, Mitchell Young, Chai Teacup, Katie McDonough, Chris Marcotte, Kiji Marie Anastasio, Leela, RJ Noriga, Charlie B, Bjorn Hermans, Toriana Frazier, Sammy the Most Lopez, Leanna Morton, Haley Blazier, Joseph Evans Green, Marilou Choquette, John Vanals, Russ Walker, Musical Hell, Emily Gracie, Kyle Summers, Cinemageddon Reviews, Villainous Miss, Sophina Ali, The Omega Geek, Paige Pearson, Maddie Wargle, Eliza Erdman, Anna Loskatova, Cheska Veray, Sarah Den Blaker, Evan Ball, Zachary Torres, Gathering Party Before Venturing Forth, Rora Marasso, Janae C., Scootin' the Technicolor Dreamcoat, Liz Lim, Nothing is Certain Except Beth and Taxes, Thespian, Mara Furloin, Captain Rod Taskic, Lisa L., Nobody, Renee Thomas, What Did Boris Say, Puffy Boy, Summer, and Julia Hardy.
They give us a little extra financial support that helps us keep the lights on here, Musicals with Cheese, and keeps us making this podcast that we think you like. We think you like it. So come join them. They got some cool shit over there, and we got more shit coming. So here's hoping you'll go. Alrighty, let's get back to the show. Alright, let's just talk about all the Juicy Fruit songs to begin with.
Little Eddie Mitty, born in Jersey City, started singing when he was 5. Never knew his father and mother, didn't bother to catch his last name. Fast as he came, he was often flying. Times were really trying. Eddie and his mother alone. Soon another mister, soon a baby sister. Mama kept swinging and Eddie kept singing. Oh.
I almost feel like it's just one song. It's the Beach Boys song, isn't it?
They do Goodbye Eddie Goodbye, then they do Upholstery, and then I think they do one more. Somebody Super Like You.
Are we supposed to like these songs?
I don't know. They're catchy. I don't dislike when they're on.
Yeah, that's the weird thing. Is like honestly, I thought that when the Juicy Fruits first came on, that this was just gonna be like the song style of the movie.
Right.
But when Winslow actually shows up, he's just playing something almost completely different. I do like them for the most part, but it is kind of a generic sort of style. You know, like it's this 50s surf rock kind of thing, you know?
I mean, I like the Beach Boys.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Like, do you really not like doing it be nice if we were older? Like, I love that sound. Why haven't we done okay, real talk, why haven't there been a Beach Boys jukebox musical? I feel like a lot of their songs really suits a narrative, and maybe that's just a me thing.
I feel like it would work. Like, I mean, wasn't Ain't Too Proud like pretty popular? Isn't that like the Temptation?
Yeah, the Temptation.
Like, I feel like that's not like the same genre, but it's like a similar style. Like, you could do something like that with the Beach Boys.
I don't know. Like, God Only Knows What I Do Without You feels like a romance ballad to begin with.
No, I'm not like a proponent of jukebox musicals, but they clearly have an audience. So if we're gonna keep doing them, like,
do
that's
a
a good
band
one.
that I like, please. You know, I know you can't do other bands that I like for reasons that I don't like many other bands, but
Let's talk about Faust.
And as I live my role, I swore I'd sell my soul for one love who would stand by me, stand by, and give me back the gift of laughter. Yeah, one love who would stand by me, stand by, and after making love we dream of better style. We dream a bunch of friends, dream each other's smiles, and dream it never ends.
Let's talk about Faust.
I love this song. It does come up a lot in the preceding story.
He has a big stack of papers, right?
Yeah.
Big stack of papers.
Yeah.
You would think that he has a bit more music for this song, but he does just kind of have
this one song.
The one song.
He went to the Andrew Lloyd Webber School of Songwriting. I wrote one song. That's a score, right?
Why is your one song like this fucking thick? Well, I did it 4 or 5 times.
You know, it's a different leitmotif. That's what we're calling it, a leitmotif.
The Winslow does get another song later, though, doesn't he?
I think so. The Beauty and the Beast Phantom song.
It's the one that he sings when they're like reconstructing his voice or something, or after they reconstruct.
No,
his
he's singing
voice?
Faust again when they do that.
It's after he reconstructs his voice, then, right?
Yeah.
He goes to compose something new, and they do that.
Right. That makes sense. Yes. I really like Faust. Faust, I know we hear it a lot, but every time I hear it, I'm like, fuck, here we go again. It's that good feeling when you hear a reprise, I get to hear that song I like again.
I gotta say, I think the first time they do it's the best one, though.
I agree. It's just simple piano, but it gets more experimental and bigger every time, which for a narrative, I appreciate.
You know, is it sad that we never actually get a version of Phoenix performing Faust?
It is, but I like the songs that Phoenix do perform. I really like Special to Me.
Caught up in your wheeling, dealing, you've got no time left for simple feeling. I thought I knew you, but I didn't know you at all. Trapped inside your world of worry, you miss so much when you always hurry. Well, slow down, baby, you'll only get hurt if you fall. Well, you told me one time that you'd be somebody, that you weren't working just to survive, but you're working so hard that you don't even know you're alive. Working so hard to be somebody special, not working just to survive. Well, you're special to me, babe, and what I don't see, babe, is where you go once you arrive. Where we go once we arrive.
I really like Jessica Harper's voice. Maybe this Halloween we'll talk about Shock Treatment, the Rocky Horror Picture Show sequel that she starred and played Janet in.
Is that good? I hear that's not good.
Okay, so here's my opinion. I don't like it. I sincerely believe you might.
Okay. Is it like camp? Like
It's
pure
very
camp?
much camp.
I am a fan of camp usually. That being said, there has been campy movies that I've not liked, but
I think it's closer to this, strangely, in tone and vibe than it is to Rocky Horror.
okay. I mean, I'd be down to at least check it out.
Like, it's still got the same kind of catchy tunes as Rocky Horror. It's just more of a weird, unpleasant vibe. Yeah, maybe this Halloween, because it's more, how would I put it? It's more a critique on television. So everyone lives in a TV studio, which,
It's what Catch Me If You Can wanted to be.
yeah, it's creative. It definitely, I think it's a lot like this, where it's very creative. I like all Phoenix's song, but special to me is like Jessica Harper's voice is very, very specific and very, very good. I like that better than Old Souls.
Our love is an old love, baby. It's older than all our years. I have seen in strange young eyes familiar tears.
She has this very low register where if you have the right song, it sounds beautiful, but if you have the wrong song, you kind of get bored. And Old Souls feels like the wrong song.
I can kind of see that.
However, Live at Last.
Life and last, salutations from the other side. I can see that you're the devil's pride. Do you realize that all of you don't have some home? For you hated that was part of you. I'm your nightmares coming true. I am your crime. Life and last, sit and listen while the fun begins. Hearts are broken and the bad guys win. Sit and listen, all the coming up is easy and it's isn't for the queasy or the weak of heart. Oh, you had better stop. Oh, what is the time?
Salutations from the other side.
Yeah, this song fucking kicks ass.
Yes, it does. I am so happy. So I have this song rotating through, or this album rotating through my iTunes shuffle a lot. And every time this comes in, my heart rate gets pumping. I'm excited. This drive's suddenly going to be a little bit better.
It's honestly, it's great that he dies too.
You can't top that. There's nothing he can do after that can top
It
what's
literally-
happening.
He does the song and he dies in the most weird way. He like gets like electrocuted on stage or some shit.
Yeah,
like
by like an
mid-song.
electric sign.
It's so fucking weird. But you know what? Like, it's great. It works.
It is a punk rock moment in the most blatant description of a punk rock moment. Dying on stage, that's fucking punk rock.
Kind of reminds me of a Meatloaf song.
You mean a Jim Steinman song?
No, like Meatloaf's song in in
Rocky Horror. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hot Patootie. Bless my soul.
Yeah.
I'm going to come in and sing this great song, then get pickaxed to death.
Just get killed immediately.
Beef at least left more of an impression on this movie than Meatloaf did on Rocky Horror.
Well, that's because Meatloaf in Rocky Horror is literally that song. That's it. There's nothing else.
He in the West End played both Eddie and Dr. Scott. So
Yeah, which they probably should have let him do in the movie, but whatever.
I get why they did.
And you know what? Maybe it's a good thing they didn't, because then, there would be a lot of Meatloaf, and I'm not the biggest Meatloaf fan anymore. I've grown out of it a little bit.
Why did that happen? I wonder.
I don't know, just weird interactions with him, I think.
Someone asked about like, hey, what do you think of Meatloaf on the set? I was like, I got a weird Meatloaf story for you.
Why did someone ask about Meatloaf?
I think they were just talking about like, because they were, I won't say on the older side, but like a different generation than me. More of Meatloaf's generation, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I just love all Meatloaf's music." And I was like, "I have a fun Meatloaf story if you want to hear it."
Did they want to hear it?
I did, and I told them. They're like, "That is so wild."
Yeah, Meatloaf. I think he was losing his mental a little bit
Yeah,
going into those, and it's sad that he's gone.
it is. It's sad that him and Jim Steinman are gone. One day we'll cover Bat Out of Hell. I feel like that's something worthy of covering now. For years I was like, man, it's not really worth it. But now that we kind of have become so entangled with Meatloaf in our lives,
We have the Meatloaf backstory now.
yeah, we have that connection as one of the wildest things that has ever happened to us on a weekend.
And also, now that Meatloaf and Jim Steinman are both gone from the world, you know.
Neither of them can attack us on Facebook.
I don't think Jim Steinman would ever attack us on Facebook, though. He seemed like a good guy.
Yeah, Jim Steinman is fine, man, from everyone that I know who has worked with him.
Including Meatloaf.
Yeah, even Meatloaf is like, Jim Steinman is one of the greatest people alive.
Oh, man. This is just a wild movie.
It's very difficult to talk about because it's just good.
Well, I feel like we've given it like a glowing treatment here, and
it's not for everyone. Let's put that disclaimer on there. Like, I don't think your dad's gonna like it.
I don't want to know you if it's not for you, though.
That's interesting.
I don't know. It's one of those movies where it's like, if it isn't for you, we're not gonna be friends, I don't think.
What else is in that category for you? Doesn't even have to be musicals or cheese related.
I think a lot of like kind of campy movies are like that. Like all of my friends I like to have over and like watch like kind of schlocky horror movies and schlocky just movies in general. And it's like I don't think I would be friends with somebody who doesn't enjoy this type of thing.
Do you think you'd show Phantom of the Paradise with your friends, like coming over to watch?
This is a movie that I think they would enjoy watching.
Okay.
And like I think my friend group would like, because the thing is, this isn't like a music theater thing. This is a rock campy like midnight screening kind of culture. I think that it's unique in that way. Well, it's in a small amount of company that like there's only a couple other movies that are really like this.
I agree. And I like it. I will watch this movie anytime. The soundtrack specifically is wonderful.
I also think that this movie is good enough that it sort of transcends being just a cult movie.
Yeah.
I think if you enjoy cult movies, you will really like this. But I think even if you're not a cult movie fan, if you just like musicals or you like Phantom of the Opera, like there's something to get out of this.
But speaking of Phantom of the Opera, I think it's time, because as we do these, we're going to rank them as far as how Andrew feels about the Phantom of the Opera adaptations we've talked about and covered on this show. So Andrew, do you have your tier list ready? Spoilers, next week we're covering Phantom of the Mall, and Andrew's gonna rank it here just because
I'm gonna rank it here because why the fuck not? Who cares?
Yeah. Spoilers, kids. We're not a real show. We're fucking pretend. Let's start with Andrew Lloyd Webber's Phantom of the Opera musical.
All right, do I meme or do I do it serious?
That's up to you, man.
If we're doing it serious, it probably has to go in A or
All
B.
right.
Like, but if we're memeing, probably C or D, because it's like this overhyped kind of thing, you know? It's like you don't want to give it a good rating, but like comparing it to the other Phantom stuff that I've watched,
Which is how we do this.
it's probably A. Like, there's not that much that's that amazing,
All right.
you know? I'm gonna put it in B.
All right.
Because I'm just not the biggest fan of it.
Then we have the film version of the Andrew Lloyd Webber thing, because I consider those two very different things, two different people.
I barely even remember that, but I feel like I didn't like it that much.
We did do a commentary on it. It is on Patreon.
I'm gonna put it in C. It maybe deserves D. I don't remember, but without having seen it recently, I don't think I can fairly rate it like that.
Okay, next up we have the American musical version of Phantom the American Spectacular.
Is this the other composers?
Yes, the one that technically got the rights and were the only ones approved with the original approval by the authors.
I think I actually really liked this one.
I did too. I like it better than Andrew Lloyd Webber.
I'm gonna put this one in A. Now I'm glad I didn't put Webber's in A because I think this one is more deserving.
Mm-hmm. Then we have the horror one starring Robert Englund.
You know, it probably doesn't deserve it, but I'm gonna put it in B tier as well.
I love that movie. I think that movie's great. It's got a great score.
It has a really banger song that I'm probably gonna use as a theme, a recurring theme for this month
Yeah.
because I just really like it. And we're not, and I'm not gonna have another chance to put it anywhere because we're not gonna cover it.
Yeah,
here
we
'cause
covered
have
that
a
one on
commentary.
Patreon as well. Good episode. Like, I love that movie. Then Phantom of the Mall.
Phantom of the Mall's in C, but it's like a good C, whereas Phantom of the Opera the movie is like a bad C.
Then we have Phantom of the Paradise.
Phantom of the Paradise is another A. I actually really enjoyed this. I didn't think I would enjoy it as much as I did. It was just a really fun movie to watch.
Of course, we got to include Love Never Dies in there somewhere.
Yeah, we were saving the D tier for something. Love Never Dies, D tier. I fuck Love Never Dies. I don't get the apologists.
I am slightly an apologist. I don't hate it.
I genuinely did not like it at all.
Oh, another one. Goosebumps the musical, The Phantom of the Auditorium.
Yeah, you know what? I think that can make it into B tier as well.
People say
I-
we don't do enough fandom shit, and look at all the fandom shit we've done.
We've covered like a fuck ton of Phantom shit. Like I don't know what the fuck they're talking about.
Everyone's like, "Oh, you don't do any of these things. You never cover popular things. You just do these weird, obscure shit." And I'm like, I don't think that's true.
Yeah, Phantom of the Auditorium was actually decent. I thought that was fun. I may be rating it a little high, but like with what they were doing and what they were going for, I think it works really well.
It succeeded very much.
Yeah, like I don't think it puts it in A, but I still think that was a worthwhile listen.
I agree. And as far as I know, that is all we've done. So we've got a lot of a Phantom month in May and April to go. Any one that you're particularly excited for?
What else do we have coming up?
I know we've got Dario Argento's Phantom of the Opera, which is historically like very bad. Like most people.
I'm looking forward to that one. I want to see how bad this could possibly be.
Like, are you aware of Dario Argento's other work? Have you seen Suspiria?
I haven't seen Suspiria.
Suspiria fucks. This movie's terrible. Part of me is wondering. So he kind of made 2 Phantom of the Opera movies.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I was wondering if I should just mix them into one episode because he made a film called Opera about a masked man in an opera that kills people and is obsessed with a woman, and then he
That
makes
seems familiar.
but then he makes a proper Phantom of the Opera movie, 7 or 8 years later, that is called The Phantom of the Opera, where there's a character named Christine and a guy that is the Phantom, but he does not wear a mask. He's not disfigured. And he fucks rats.
Good. I love fucking rats.
But you hear me say it. There will be 900 trigger warnings at the start of that episode. Like there's several nude scenes with the lead actress, and also the lead actress is the director's daughter.
Oh, you know what, Jess? There's one more Phantom thing that I've watched that we could put in this.
What are you gonna put in?
That old Phantom of the Opera.
Oh yeah, the 1925 one. I was actually thinking about covering that on this, but I
We've
forgot
never
you've
covered it
already
on our
seen
show, but I have actually seen it, so I think I can rank it.
I think you and I did watch that together.
We did.
If I'm
What is this? Phantom of the Opera. Who stars in that? Is that
Lon Chaney?
Lon Chaney, yeah.
But yeah, so your ranking is number 1, Phantom the American Musical, then Phantom of the Paradise, then the Andrew Lloyd Webber, then Robert Englund, and Phantom of the Auditorium, Phantom of the Opera Lon Chaney, Phantom of the Opera movie, then Phantom of the Mall, then Love Never Dies.
Yeah.
I am very curious as to where the others will rank as the month goes on. On that note, what is your overall thoughts on Phantom of the Paradise and your cheese rating?
Phantom of the Paradise slapped. It was sick. I really liked it. You know what, though? I'm going to not give a shit and not give a fuck. And I'm going to give it Gouda cheese. Not even because it's a Gouda, but just because I actually really like that cheese, and that's what I want to give it.
Fair enough. You are allowed to have whatever you want. I don't control you. I love this movie. And the only cheese rating I can give it is mild cheddar from the specific Robinson Ranch Swan Brothers dairy cheese, because Swan. On that note, you know who else definitely likes Swan Brothers cheese? Don't even worry about it, because it's our wonderful patrons. Thank you guys for listening. Please follow us on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, and Musicals with Cheese. Leave us a review. There's been a minute since we've gotten a new review. We'll read it on the podcast if you write us one. We're on Twitter at Cheesy Musicals, Patreon Musicals with Cheese, Instagram Musicals with Cheese, YouTube page Musicals with Cheese, Patreon only podcast, Patreon with Cheese. Email us at musicaltheaterlives@gmail.com. Our keeper of the cheese is Juliet Antonio. Andrew, why don't you try to give Juliet some ASMR?
You just talk really quiet. Is this ASMR?
Gotta whisper.
I'm not really that good at whispering.
Oh, now I'm rock hard. Our theme songs were created by Robyn, Nash of IOU Music UK. Thank you to the Broadway Podcast Network for having us on the platform, for not kicking us off, for Swan stealing my music and framed me. All right, Andrew, anything else you have left to say?
Go watch Phantom of the Paradise. It was sick.
It was sick. And there's not any other movie like it. And I mean that in a good way. Hey, we'll see you next time, kids. I was not myself last night, and I couldn't set things right with apologies or flowers. Out of a place of a crying clown who could only frown, and the play went on for hours. And I lived my role. I swore I'd sell my soul for one love who would stand by me and give me back the gift of laughter. One love who would stand by me. And after making love, we dream a bit of style.